The difference here is it's still your uncle's quarters. There's virtually nothing left in it. As you guys step into the room, the lantern is pretty much the only source of light. There's no windows in this room. So even though it's the middle of the day, it's relatively dark in here. The thing that you can see that's different than how you remember it, Isaac, is that not a lot left in here. As you close that opening bookcase behind you, you see most of the books are gone. There's a few things that are kind of strewn about the floor, like the sheets on the bed just look like they were tossed there haphazardly. It looks as though someone came through the room looking for something. Obviously, your uncle hasn't been here to use the room, so it primarily looks like somebody took a bunch of stuff out, maybe was looking for something, and now what's left behind is virtually nothing of the things that you knew were here before.
So nothing on the walls, no porch paintings, nothing like that.
No, it seems like anything of value was removed, and then anything that might have been of more sentimental value has either been removed or dug through to the point where, again, there's a handful of like basic books left in the bookcase, some sheets left on the bed haphazardly. The smattering of furniture is still there, a couple of end tables, the bookcases themselves, the bed, a rug on the floor. But for the most part, things look like they've been relatively tossed.
Oh, this secret bookshelf. It's just like straight out of books. So stupid. Can I tell you a secret, Grail?
I'm all ears.
Sentimental. And I'm kind of like touching like the one part of the wall. I'm saying all this silly stuff about heroes and good and evil. I always thought it was so dumb. I was never really into any of it growing up. My uncle would wax on about stories, and every time he came home, he wanted to tell me a new tale he heard. And I listened for his benefit, but I never really cared. It wasn't my thing. Obviously, as you know, he was the first vigilante, and he died because of me. It's my fault, and so I carry on in his legacy, and I've adopted everything that was important to him so he could live on. That includes this notion of trying to be a hero and a symbol, being more than ourselves and what we can accomplish on our own.
Your fault.
He took me under his wing. It's a long story. I didn't even know he was the vigilante at first. I discovered that later. And he died, protecting me.
I don't know the story, as you said. It's a long one, of which I don't know, but we all make our own decisions, Isaac. And if he wanted to take you under his wing and train you up and protect you, that's on him. That's not your fault in any way.
I wish it was that simple. I inherited the title and his legacy because I had to, because anything else would not honor his death. It's okay.
Wow.
We don't need to get into it. It's hitting me a little hard now being back here, so I thought at least you deserve to know.
And I kind of offer, I don't really say anything because what am I going to say that's actually going to give you any like comfort? But I kind of look at you and then I look around the room or what we can see with my lantern and I say, I take it this was his room.
It was his room. We had a family painting over here, which is funny. Next to it, he had a little collage of paintings depicting tales from the Gunslinger, the early editions. I mean, between the paintings and the secret bookshelf, you're at the birth of the vigilante. This is where the idea was born.
You know, Isaac, I respect what you did to carry on what he was doing and to take up the mantle, but I think he'd be proud of what you're doing now. charging a path all your own.
Maybe. I'm trying to do my best to live on, to carry on what he started.
And I think you still are. You don't have to follow the exact footprints to be going in the right direction, in the same direction.
Well, anyways, let's continue on while we're here, eh? And I give you a half-hearted smile, trying. And then I go over to the door and I kind of listen through it to see if I can hear anyone on the other side.
Okay, make a perception check.
I'm not guessing it's likely. It's not a lot of people here, but or maybe there is now. I don't know. 13 perception.
So here's at least a basic layout of the house, which seems, I know it's going to seem weird to the viewer that I'm telling him what his house is like, but that's the situation we're in. You and Cora and your uncle all had rooms on this side of this floor. Your sister and the two siblings that you saw as you came in are on the other side. There is an elevator system in the center that essentially carries people up the various floors of the manor. But this higher one is where most of and these are big rooms, by the way, like the Vigilante's room, the ex-Vigilante's room is a big room. All the rooming quarters seem to be on this floor, except your father's, who is on the top floor because, he's selfish like that. So, to your knowledge, since 2 of the 3 occupants on this part of the wing are no longer living here, there really isn't too much reason why you should hear anything. And as you kind of prop yourself up against the door to take a listen, don't hear any noises come from the outside.
Okay.
So is this the good floor?
This is the good wing.
This
of the
is
good
the good
floor.
this is where all the good people in the family lived, and all the other ones were terrible people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I just
So I'm gonna just open the door quietly, look back to Grail and gesture to. I'm setting out, at least for now, to Cora's room.
Okay. Yeah, essentially the 2 oldest have rooms on one side, the 2 youngest have rooms on one side, and his uncle's room is down on the end of the hall. So as you come out, you're basically facing down the hallway and can see that, it doesn't appear to be anybody moving.
Has it fallen into any sort, even small, of disrepair? Or is he still doing a lot to maintain the interior?
So as you step into the hallway, you can see that the rest of the house seems to be well kept. Whatever disarray was happening in your uncle's room seems to have been something different, and then nobody seemed to care to keep it up anymore because he wasn't coming back. The hallway itself does not have that same kind of, unkept look. The rugs that cover the whole width of the walkway seem clean, and it looks like there's little small end tables and stuff along the side that have been dusted, and there are paintings on these walls of just various nature scenes and whatnot. All that stuff seems to be as you remember it. So it seems like outside of the uncle's room, somebody's keeping this up. Your family had multiple butlers that were in charge of keeping things up in the house because your father obviously wasn't going to do that. And they seem to still be continuing the work, even though the residence is, even less busy than it used to be.
Okay. So when we get to the door, I'll tell Grail, to be honest, I'm pretty nervous. What if she's not even here? Or what if she is?
And I definitely can tell that you're a little shaken by kind of that whole thing with, your uncle in the room. And so I actually just grab your hand and squeeze it.
And I take a deep breath, squeeze back, nod, and try the door.
Okay.
Okay. Turn on the handle.
Yeah.
It's locked.
Oh, God.
I don't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to totally defer to you.
Oh, God. I'm going to knock.
You go to put your fist on the door. You're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of imagine that. And you kind of like put your forehead against the door, like thinking about it, like.
I kind of like whisper through the door, like, Cora, are you in there?
No response.
Okay. I'm going to say, well, she might not be in. I don't want to really scour every inch of the house looking for her.
Did she often have her door locked?
She was always very open and social, so I can't say she ever had her door locked when she was in there, and she never felt the need to lock it when she was gone.
It is possible she's moved rooms? I'm like trying to offer like more positive
Yeah.
alternatives here.
I suppose, but we can't go through checking every room.
No.
I did want to have a look in my father's study, though, so I suppose we might as well look to go do that.
I kind of like pause, and then I say, would you like me to open the door? Or would you rather wait?
It probably wouldn't hurt. I don't like invading her privacy, but that seems like such a normal family worry to have, and we're so far beyond that. If you don't mind, I think it could give us a clue on where she is and how she's doing, at least. All I want is proof of life, essentially, that she's doing okay, that she actually has a life.
I understand. And I get out my thieves' tools.
Okay. Let's go ahead and make a dexterity check with those. You have it built, I think.
Yes. 25.
Yeah, at this point, considering you have been dealing with possessed demon boxes and using your mage hand to fiddle around with things recently, the familiar and much easier slipping of the thieves' tools in for just kind of a regular lock feels like child's play.
Yeah.
Takes a moment, a matter of seconds before you can just kind of feel the last, what's it called? The last, like, the little clicks in the lock.
Pin?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. I think there's a word for it. The last tumbler? I think there's called tumblers before tumbler
Yeah.
became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the last one kind of slide aside and the knob gives, and pretty quickly you're able to get access to it.
Cool. I want to go in. Should we only? I only ask because I feel guilty. Should we cut back to the restaurant?
We can do that.
We've been on me for a long time.
You
Well,
guys,
and if we want to do this, I can pull back, my thieves' tools and kind of like let it so Isaac can do what he wants to do. I'm not gonna like burst in there.
Right.
Kool-Aid Man style.
I mean, no. As soon as you have it done, I'll go and I'll undo.
Okay.
I'll turn the knob and go in. But
Okay.
But as you step through the door frame,
we cut to the riveting restaurant scene.
There's that moment where there's like the tense music. It's like building. It's
Yeah.
Like, doo, and then it cuts over, and you just hear like chatter and like some silly music in the background.
and the clinking of plates and utensils. Yeah.
Crash asking
Cheers!
why it is there's a tiny bowl of lemon water in front of him, what the hell it's for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you drink it. It's what you do. You know,
I was thinking finger bowl, but yeah, that's fine.
finger bowl. It's not that fancy. Lumberjacks
It's-
eat here.
I was having fun with it, but yeah, it's fine.
No fun.
Not while Tessian's here.
The cedar beer is surprisingly good. Maybe in part because your expectations are pretty low. Because, it doesn't sound very appetizing, wood beer. But it's got kind of a smoky in a good way thing going for it, where it has a pleasant aftertaste that kind of lingers. It also doesn't feel like it is super alcoholic.
Okay.
Like, there's some in there,
Yeah.
but it's not like, I drank half of this and now I'm starting to feel tipsy. It's just like, this is kind of a pleasant dinner accompaniment. Eventually the waiter comes back and brings the 3 dishes that you ordered, because nobody else put anything in before they left. Checks on you, see how things are going.
Oh, it's delightful. It's delightful. Thank you very much.
He looks over at Lena and Karash to...
I'm just kind of sipping on the beer a little bit. I am actually kind of liking it, so.
We ordered, right, or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
This is
right.
our food. Our food's here.
He's gonna eat my food. I'm eating
Okay,
fish.
that's fine. He just kind of looks over the two of you to make sure everything's okay. You're not like looking at him pleadingly or, you know.
Lena
No,
and
I do give him a
Karash
nod
do
of
not
like, yeah,
speak
it's good.
to
No,
the lowly
It-
waiters.
If he's gonna
The
linger,
staff.
I'm gonna like look at him confused, like.
no, I do give him a nod, and as I'm like sipping, and I'm gonna once I swallow, I'll be like, oh yes, it's delicious, thank you.
I don't have time to talk to the help.
Yeah, exactly.
He says, well, if there's anything else you need, please let me know.
Of course, my good man.
And they go back to eating, and we immediately switch back.
No, Tessian
okay.
is he's just waiting for this guy to get out of here because we're having conversations.
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
Maybe he could be like,
A spy.
A spy.
yeah, you never know. I mean, look, Isaac's crazy, but like maybe not that crazy. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So Tessian, so Karash, what are your plans? You think to find the Dragonborn in town?
Ask people.
Was there any way you'd like to start? We may be on our own for a while. We could certainly accompany you.
Normally, I ask people in bars. It's easier that way. If you buy them beer, they talk.
Fair enough. Lena, is there anything you'd like to do while we're in town? Maybe perhaps look at where our next stop could be.
Yes, well, I am sort of interested in the train. I would like to learn a little more about that. I haven't seen anything like that before. And all I know for sure is that I need to head northwest. And if the train goes in that direction, maybe I could, I don't know, find a map of the different stops it has in that direction. I don't know.
Do I know any of this, Chris? Like, have I ever been on this train? Is this like a thing?
I don't know that you have, but it's certainly possible you could have. It's kind of one of those where it's sort of up to you. You have been to Lycidian and Waychester by teleportation glyph, so you haven't had to use the train for that.
Would I have ever just seen a map that has the railroads on it?
At least the main routes, yeah. You may not know the stops, but you would have at least know where they were headed.
Okay.
And I can give you that info. Hold on.
So I was pulling up the map earlier. I was trying to think of where it would go because Timberbrook would have to go around Glimmer Hollow, up to Zonebridge, then across Still Valley over to Waychester. Okay.
That's not the map. Where's the map?
Does it
There's the
stop
map.
at Fort Cross, or is that too far north?
I'll tell you when we get there. All that stuff sounds familiar to me off the top of my head. There's the map. Okay, this is hard to read on this tiny laptop screen, but yes, from Timberbrook it goes north. It does not approach the Glimmer Hollow.
Okay, so it goes around it.
Yeah, it essentially goes north because it's got that little like river inlet. It has to go
Yes.
around, and then it basically goes due west, across the Zone Bridge,
Okay.
into Still Valley,
Okay.
and eventually it makes its way to Waychester.
Okay.
There's also a route that goes between Waychester and Hope's End,
Down.
at the
Okay.
exterior of the Alizarin Desert. And there's also one that connects some point. You're not sure. Well, no, you should be sure from the map. There's a branch that splinters off between Still Valley and Zonebridge that goes south to Lycidian. So it's like a big M or a sideways 3, or it.
Gotcha. From
Upside
Hope's
down
Hope's End
W.
over to Waychester,
Yeah.
across the Still Valley, and then about partway through between Still Valley and Zonebridge, it
It
diverts
branches and
down to
goes south
Lycidian.
There's some kind of
And
town
then-
there between Still Valley and Zonebridge, but it's not a large one.
Gotcha.
It's not one of those ones that's like part of Aramean history where you go, oh yeah, like Zonebridge is well known.
Well, then Tessian will just kind of explain that in some way, at least what he knows. Well, there's a good likelihood that if I recall, the train would take us up to across the Zone Bridge and then over to Still Valley. I'm not entirely sure where we'll need to get off, based on your visions, Lena, but it should get us at least closer. It is almost due northwest.
Yes, I think based on my most recent visions, it seems like I'm not going to be able to pinpoint it much better until we start to travel further in that direction. So eventually we'll have to make our way out there, and then hopefully I can get a more accurate reading later on.
There's also the chance that the Glimmer Hollow is the destination. That is northwest of here, but I guess it depends on how far these visions are guiding you.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't have a strong take on distance either. I just know it's pretty far northwest, but I can't say for sure until we
I would
head more in
say,
that direction. Or do I know?
based on Tessia's description of it,
Okay.
Glimmer Hollow is too close.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So I'll
You're
kind of...
not really sure how far away it is, but it's further than that.
Okay.
Because it feels far, and that's,
Yeah.
75 miles northwest maybe.
Okay.
And it feels much further than that.
Yeah, so I'll kind of tell him that. And then that reminds me about the magic scroll, and I'm going to pull it out and kind of write down, kind of add to it a little bit, because it's been a while, I think, since we've done anything since the shrine. So I'll just add that I've had some visions that are taking me northwest, and this is where we're thinking, kind of. So I'll just add that to the magic scroll while I'm nibbling on my salad.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking up what Zone Bridge. Tessian's like, well, we may want to look into securing transportation, especially if things may go sour here soon. We may want to ensure that we've got some sort of passage if we need to distance ourselves from Isaac. No offense to him, and he kind of looks over to Crash just to make sure Crash doesn't think we're bailing on him. But then it's like, but if Isaac is going to stir trouble, and, well, we can't afford to get stuck here just because he wants to, well, stir things up with his family. We do have the Conatus to get to. I hope that's not the case. I hope Grail can pull him back from this, but, well, who knows with Isaac sometimes.
And I just kind of give you a nod and say, I hope it doesn't come to that. I don't want to leave behind any of our own. We've made it this far. I wouldn't want to abandon him now, but I think we should be cautious.
If he gets caught, do you think we should try to intervene?
Prison break.
And I nod and I say, I would help him because I know he would help us if anything happened. I think I have to.
Tessia nods, and he's like, well, at the very least, I think we should check the train schedule and see when the next one arrives and departs. At least so we have some sort of time frame.
I nod and I say, I think that would be wise.
With that, I don't think he has much more. We're just going to eat and then finish up, I guess. When the waiter comes by next, he's going to ask if we can get, like, I don't know, whatever the equivalent of, like, a cup to go is for this cedar beer, because he wants Grail to be able to taste it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to, if the waiter comes by, order a couple of extra things of beer, and I'm going to look around for a table that's got no more than 2 people sitting at it, and I'm going to go join their table with the beer, offer it to them, and then start asking them about themselves and whatnot.
Okay.
And then I'm going to lead into the, hey, ever seen anybody like me?
Make me a perception check.
Oh, God.
I mean, come on. What's the worst that happens if you fail a perception check? You know, it's not like we're,
His eyes just explode. Boom.
15.
15. You, over the course of the meal, have also started to pick up on this somewhat nearby table where a couple of the folks that are dressed in plaid and look like lumberjacks are occasionally glancing in your direction. And it's become even more apparent that it's you because 2 of your table mates are no longer there.
I'd take that.
So if that's the one you'd like to head to, we can do that.
Absolutely.
We switch back to House Dryden. Gods be praised.
Did Karash ask, like, hey, guys, or was he like, we're the Dragon Boys?
He's actually quite personable when
Okay.
he wants to be.
All right.
He is somewhat charismatic. He's pretty charismatic.
Yeah.
Yes, quite.
I don't want to sell him short.
Your, like, highest stat, other than maybe strength?
Yeah, it is my second highest stat.
So we walk in, and I usher Grail to follow me. I don't know if she's necessarily waiting for the invite, but I want to, like, close the door behind us.
Okay.
And I look around the room.
I'll have you both make an investigation check.
Oh, yeah.
Doom, ba-doom, ba-doom, doom, doom, ba-doom, ba-doom, doom.
Yeah, you guys, like, singing like Kronk is?
Pull the lever.
12. a little distracted. This is a lot.
22.
Okay.
This is a lot right now.
As you guys kind of quickly just canvass the room, looking around, Isaac, you notice that this is indeed her room. You had spent some time in here with her off and on in the past where, you check up on her, make sure things were okay. In fact, some of your only real fond memories are here, either in this room or in yours with her. As the two of you look around, you can see it has been lived in, but it might have been a couple or a few days. Like, there's definitely a sign
What?
of recent activity. It's nowhere near like your uncle's where it's been clear for months that it's been empty. The bed is made, but there's plenty of things in the room still. It's about as you remember it for the most part. There are still some paintings of horses on the wall.
She's a horse girl?
She's a big fan
Oh
of
my
horses.
Oh my
Horses.
goodness!
Unlike Michaela, she
Run!
actually owns
Run
and is
now!
proficient with horses.
Hey, I'm proficient with horses too.
You're proficient with the idea of horses.
No, I'm not.
If Lisa Frank notebooks were a thing, she definitely would have had some, but they're not. But she would have.
Okay.
But you can just get an idea from just looking around without digging into things too much. You can dig further if you'd like to, but that she hasn't been here for at least a couple days.
So-
but she has been here recently. It's just not that she's gone.
I want to look, and I'll probably tell Grail this. Look around if you don't mind. Looking for anything. Tickets to the train. Any indication where she might have gone recently, or may even be now. I'm like a little frantic, like kind of does not making sense. Like, why would she have a thing being like, I'm at this spot, but I'm like desperate to find something.
Grail, with your check, in addition to kind of the cursory look at the room, especially with Isaac's direction, because, whatever, flavor, there is a thing that you spot, because you have keen eyes and know about hiding places because you're practiced with roguery. That's a word, right? Roguery?
Yeah, sure.
Roguedom. That there is a book that kind of stands out as you kind of just quickly look in the desk drawers. There's 3 drawers there. You just kind of pull them open real quick. You're not really rifling around in them too detailedly, but there is a leather-bound book inside that kind of catches your eye.
I'm going to read her diary.
And a quick look at a couple pages. It is, in fact, her diary, yes.
Okay. I will present this to Isaac and say, it's her diary. It's probably very personal, but it might have some clues.
This is a gross abuse of trust, I say as
I
I
know.
open it to the most recent page.
Listen, it's for her protection.
I'm specific about like the most recent page. I'm not interested in like every secret. I just want to know. Hopefully, the latest entry will be like, off to the horse stables today.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't bring it with her, so it's kind of odd. But anyway.
Oh, she's going to the horse stables. Why would
She sleeps there sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta put a diary on a horse?
Hey, come on.
Come on.
Exactly.
The most recent entry, I didn't write a full entry, so I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Because, who
I
knows?
don't think I want a full entry. That's very personal.
That's true. So you can kind of skim over it quickly. The things that stand out to you are father making her go on another trip. The tone in general strikes you as somewhat down. She, of course, was full of life in a way that pretty much nobody else in the family was. Maybe younger Isaac before a lot of things happened, but she was like the beacon of hope among the more dour individuals in the family. That lighthearted tone is virtually non-existent in this, and even just kind of the last few pages of entries as you flip through quickly, just trying to get kind of a general sense of what's going on. But the most recent one talks about another trip with father that she's not looking forward to.
But it doesn't say where.
It does not.
Shit, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
So I say like, well, she's alive at least. And I'm a little like choked up. This is probably, I'm thinking back, the most emotional that you've seen me in all of our time together, because I'm picking up on this very transformed tone from how she used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm happy and I'm relieved that like she's alive, she's okay, she's not being forced to do some of the things that I was afraid of. At least it doesn't seem like it, but she's obviously like not having a happy life. So that sucks.